Hi everyone, here is some review. So this is about how to find out what a problem is asking and how to find out an answer to a multiplication equation by using a particular strategy. So we're either like sort of composing and adding two numbers of rows together, or we're starting with a certain amount of rows and then we're taking away from that. So Mrs. Stern roasts cloves of garlic. If you didn't know what a clove of garlic was, you could make it up and you could say kitty cats. So what's more important here is that the information of 10 rows on a baking sheet. And on the 10 rows, we have 2 cloves. So it could be 10 rows of bunnies, of 2 bunnies. It doesn't matter, okay? So 10 rows of 2 cloves on a baking sheet, and that is here represented by this array. So write an equation to describe the number of cloves Mrs. Stern bakes. We know that 10 rows is the same as 10 groups of is the multiplication symbol, and 2 is the size of the group. So 10 times 2 equals 20. Now let's look at 2. When the garlic is roasted, Mrs. Stern uses some for a recipe. There are 2 rows of 2 garlic cloves left on the pan. So we've got some things we've got to pay attention to. Uses. So she had some garlic and she used some for a recipe. Now, there are 2 rows of 2 cloves left. So go ahead to this array and start marking this down. There are 2 rows left. So we know that 2 rows here, they are left. She didn't use them. That means that what she did use are all of those cloves here. So we're going to label that used. They were eaten up, or, they were used to scare away the vampires because they don't like garlic. Whatever it is, used them. Oh, actually, she used them for a recipe. So there you go. And there are 2 rows, 1, 2, of 2 left over. So what are we going to do? Well, let's take a look. We started with the total. Start with the total. How many 2s did you have before? The total, right? So we had 10 2s. And use the information that you are given. You have 2 rows that are left over. So 10 2s minus 2 2s. And that is going to give you, so if you look here, this is the total. This is what was left. And here is what was used. Because we want to know how many garlic cloves she uses. Right there. Gotta pay attention to those words. Okay, so 10 2s minus 2 2s equals how many 2s? 8 2s. So they're saying here that 10 2s is 20, 2 2s is 4, and that equals 16, which is in fact 8 2s. Okay, so you can count that if you needed to. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. There you go, 16. You can count the rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 rows. Finally, it says, write an equation to describe the number of garlic cloves Mrs. Stern uses. So we learned how much was total. We learned how much was left. We know how much she uses. But now we got to write an equation for this part of the array that she used. Well, we just found that out. We just counted it. There are 8 rows, and there are 2 in each row the size. And we also know the total, 16. The amount that she used was 16 cloves of garlic. So you see how I labeled the array. I underlined the important information. I wrote this here, so I made sure I knew what I was talking about. I figured out I have to describe the number of cloves she uses. So none of this information in terms of numbers is difficult at all. You got this. What is difficult is slowing down, paying attention to the directions and what is being asked, and using your pencil. or pen or marker or chalk or whatever you are using to start underlining and giving yourselves hints like labels to figure out what you need to do. So that is your review for the day.